The Brooklyn Nets lost last night against the Miami Heat in a game where they played extremely well through three quarters, and then it all began to unravel. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brooklyn Boys Show. I'm Josh Wolliver, but allow me to reintroduce my co-host Connor Long as the latest Nets daily columnist. Connor, it's been a while since you've been on the show. How you doing, my friend? How's life been?
Josh, I appreciate the warm introduction. Shout out to all the incredible Nets fans, Nets world, still out there. Look, I've been still putting out content for you Net fans and maniacs. Just not here on the podcast, more so over at Nets Daily, but I'm looking forward now that I'm on winter break to really get back doing shows more often. I have a slew of great guests lined up over these next couple weeks, so I hope you guys enjoy those shows. But Josh, incredible job out of you, my friend, by holding it down. And again, I am looking forward to talking some Nets with you tonight as I tweet the link out over on Twitter. So shout out to you, Josh. Shout out to everyone who is watching us, supporting the show. You guys are the best. Go Nets, baby.
Exactly. You want to continue to help support us, hit like, hit subscribe, pushes the content out to more Nets fans like us. Connor, if you saw us on the YouTube channel, on the Instagram page, on either of our Twitters just a couple of days ago, we had the absolute pleasure of being hosted by Fox 5 in their New York City studio. So that was awesome. Go give that a listen. The full interview is up across all social media platforms. If you haven't hit that yet, we had an awesome conversation over there. Like and subscribe. Get questions, comments, thoughts over in the chat, YouTube, and Twitter. Appreciate you all sparing a little bit of your Friday evening to join us now that Christmas break has started. And boy, does that feel good. But last night, Connor, I was in attendance and it just felt like a classic Nets loss. This
Mhm.
team looks really good. And then the fourth quarter starts and all of a sudden they have a completely new identity. But maybe for the better, because let's be real, this team needs to start losing games.
Look, Josh, it's certainly an interesting conversation, right? And when you talk about the bigger picture, not just of this loss, but to kind of summarize these past few games, I was thinking about this, the other day actually. Four of the five rookies, excluding Nolan Traore, have really had moments this season. Ben
Yep.
Saraf, he started game one of the year. He had a couple nice games he put together. I mean, Danny Wolf, the Jewish Joker, has been balling this past week and a half up in Brooklyn, starting with that
Hell
incredible
yeah.
game a couple weeks ago against Milwaukee. Drake Powell and his ridiculous stretch, 3 or 4 games long, and really Yegor Dioman all season long. He's continued to improve each time we see him step on the court. So I think for all these rookies right now, the biggest thing is finding consistency. And
Yep.
I think if you talk about Nolan Traore, in particular, he's continued to up his game in the G League. He had 28 only a handful of games ago for Long Island, and he's really reduced his turnovers, which I think is important. So that's kind of just my big picture wrap up when you talk about the rookies and the draft position. But I mean, yeah, this is the team that got off to a terrible start to the season, that lost, their first, they were what, 1-9 their first 10 games of the year,
Yep.
something.
0-7 to start.
0-7 start, 1-9 their first 10 games of the year. Now they're a team that is 7-19, that have the sixth worst record in the NBA right now. So there is still a long time until the draft. The Nets obviously have their
Yep.
first round pick and then 2 second round picks to go along with that. So again, there's still a ton of time for this draft order to shake out. But when you talk about last night's game overall and the result, I think that's what every Net fan wants. A close game that the Nets just happen to fall on the L side of, where, the rookies show you some promise. Yegor Dioman, 14 points, Danny Wolf, 9, 5, and 2.
Yep.
So overall, look, I thought last night's game was much of the same for this Brooklyn Nets team. Michael Porter Jr. continued to handle the majority of the scoring load, put this team on his back. He had 28.
Yes.
Nick Claxton with 14, Nick Claxton with 16, Yegor with 14. So again, much of the same for this Brooklyn Nets team. I want to see more of the rookies down the stretch. That's been my biggest gripe with Jordan
Yes.
as of late. Too much Terrence Mann, too much Noah Clowney, and frankly, too much Tyrese Martin, Jalen Wilson, that combination of guys down the stretch. So look, these rookies need to develop. They really, really need to. And what better opportunity to get them prime NBA minutes and give them more time to adapt to this league at this point in the year where it's frankly a meaningless season for the Brooklyn Nets team. They're not going anywhere. You want to see the rookies get as many minutes as possible, and meaningful minutes at that.
Yeah, we'll go in depth on every single player, what this means for them, and what was an overall pretty typical Nets game is how I would sum it up in just a few sentences. But I think another overarching theme, not only that we saw just last night against Miami, but when you think back to last week when the Nets won 3 of 4 games at a point when they beat the Chicago Bulls, managed
Mhm.
the Hornets, played really well against some teams that are at or above their skill level.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter with this team. They can play with teams better than them, and I think last night is a clear example of that. Miami, a team who was firmly in the Eastern Conference mix, gonna try and bid
Mhm.
for probably a top 5 seed by the end of the year, hoping they all stay healthy. Norman Powell's been great for them. We'll get into that. Jaime Jaquez, you wanna see him continue to develop. But Miami is solidly in the mix, and you're talking about a Nets team that basically, hasn't beat a team that's top 5 in you think back to some of their wins, who are the best opponents they've beaten this year? And you'd probably have to say, like, one of those 2 against the Celtics with no Jason Tatum,
Yeah, I
so
mean, even look at the I don't mean to cut you off there, Josh, but you talk about the Nets being able to punch above their weight class in certain games. The Bucks aren't a great team if you look at their record this year, 11-16, but they are far more talented than the
yes.
Nets are. I think they're a
But
better
no
coach
Giannis, obviously a big
granted, no
caveat.
Giannis, but Miles Turner, Kevin
Yeah,
Porter Jr., like Bobby Portis, those are pieces
yes,
the Nets would kill to have on this team right now.
yeah,
So, I will say I have been pleased with what the Nets have shown, not only
yeah,
this year but last year under Jordy Fernandez as well. In certain games where they're able to punch above their weight class, that is all coaching, that is all development, that is something to certainly
right,
keep in mind here. And look, at the end of the day, this rebuild is all going to come down to coaching. It's going to be about
yeah,
finding the right coach. Since the Nets moved to Brooklyn, the majority of this fan base hasn't felt super, super confident in a head coach. I think Jordy Fernandez is as confident as this fan base and those who cover this team have felt about a head coach again since they moved to New Jersey dating back to 2011.
yeah. I mean, a ton of what you just said there is absolutely right, and what I think when you're talking about staying competitive against teams that you know you're better than, there's a difference between tanking, like, let's take, for example, the Washington Wizards have been doing for 5 straight seasons
Yep.
since they sold Beal and Porzingis, and look, night in, night out, they're uncompetitive, and that's why they have some of the worst attendance in the league. There's a difference between tanking and losing games.
Yeah.
Look, it's not about point differential, right? So you can lose by 30, you can lose by 3. At the end of the day, you're going to be classified both as a loss. So no matter what, there's no excuse for this team to not,
Yeah.
hold themselves accountable, hold themselves to a high standard. At the end of the day, don't worry, this team will lose basketball games. There will be no shortages of losses in Brooklyn this year. I can assure you that, Nets fans. But I think just being able to play with teams better than you on a team level certainly does say something about the coaching, which you're right is going to be so vital. Let's get into the personal impact of a couple of these. I think where we have to start is Drake Powell, who exited
Yeah.
halfway through the first quarter with what I initially thought was a knee injury. The Nets listed it as an ankle injury. Hope everything's okay. The only thing they gave us was that he would not return last night, and obviously he didn't. But Drake Powell, man, whether it's Long Island or Brooklyn, has made a very big impact. And to me, Connor, an impact that I thought would come a year or 2 into his NBA career, but you're talking about 3
Yep.
months in, and this guy is already able to guard another team's number 1 scorer with confidence in himself.
Mhm.
And that's something that I truly love to see out of
Definitely.
Drake Powell. When you draft 5 rookies, they don't all have to be the best scorers, the best ball handlers. You need to know how to play your role. I think Drake Powell has done that in extremely effective manner so far through his rookie season. Sucks to see him get injured.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about Drake Powell, he's someone who was my favorite Nets draft pick. And look, again, like I mentioned at the top of the show, he's had his moments along with Ben Saraff, along with Danny Wolf, and along with Yegor Dioman. Consistency, consistency, consistency. He is someone who I think just needs to get on the court sooner rather than later, because he is someone who I think has the traits to really, really, really succeed at the NBA level. Right now, it's just about development. It's about getting the minutes. He's 20 years old. He's in his first NBA season. But again, the traits are undeniable. The catch and shoot ability from beyond the arc, his physicality down low, the ability to guard multiple positions as a true wing defender. I think those traits are so valuable. Again, right now though, for him, it's about getting onto the court as quick as possible and getting these minutes, because he is someone who does need to be developed at the NBA level in order to have success.
Certainly, it is designated as a ankle sprain, which he already had missed a couple of games earlier in the year due to ankle injury. So you hope it's nothing severe. Hopefully, he's able to bounce back. The last thing you want to do is get a guy like that, something that could injure him long term. You saw it earlier in the year. The Nets had some load management days for Yegor with the plantar fascia, which, I mean, you love to see this team looking out for the development and their well being of the young guys, not just today, but down the line. So, well, respect that move. Brooklyn's already ruled him out for Thursday. The Nets have a very tough schedule to round out their
Yeah.
2025 year. We'll get into that later in the show. But Connor, I mean, since you've been on, or rather since the last time you were on, that was still right around the Cam Thomas era. We didn't fully see what Michael Porter Jr. would begin to bloom into. But man, Brooklyn has a star cooking up. Last night, just another
Yeah.
one of his spectacular performances where in 34 minutes, he just carries the Nets. I mean, nobody else scores the ball quite like this man on this team. 28, 6, and 3. Another classic MPJ night.
Michael Porter Jr. Make him an all-star. Make him an all-star, folks.
Amen.
This guy is special. He's a very, very good player.
Yes.
There were some fans, there were some people who I had on this program over the summer, some guests who were very, very, very skeptical of how Michael Porter Jr. was not only going to play without Nikola Jokic, but play on a Nets team where no one around him can truly shot create. Where
because he didn't have this role in Denver. That's
exactly. It's a completely different role, Josh, as you point out. And we've only seen him continue to blossom in each category. Shooting the ball from beyond the arc. His defensive metrics are up. His rebounding totals are up. Frankly, his assists are up as well. So he is just ascending. He's still ascending, which is a super promising sign for someone like Michael Porter Jr., who was compared to Kevin Durant coming out of high school. And obviously he hasn't lived up to those expectations, but he's 27 years old. I think a lot of people like to forget that. I think a lot of people tend to think that MPJ is in his 30s and he is done developing. Clearly not evident from his early returns this season. So MPJ continuing to shine. Look, I'm super happy for him. I'm happy for him going out there and proving the doubters wrong. Bill Simmons called this trade the worst of the decade once it happened, and I have not heard Cam Johnson's name once out of Denver as Michael Porter.
You look at the split side by side, and it's ridiculous. And the fact that the Brooklyn got the first round pick, like Denver was
that's going to be a prime pick.
Picks.
That's going to be when Nikola Jokic retires. Like that is going to be a prime pick. That was a fleece of a trade for Brooklyn. Called it when it happened.
Yes.
I'm standing by that trade right now. So look, MPJ.
And it's not like Cam Johnson was an all-star for this team either. Like,
I mean,
first.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people with MPJ as the trade deadline approaches, trade season obviously underway now. The real talks start kicking off December 15th. We're on the 19th. I think a lot of people, a lot of Nets fans in particular, think MPJ would be better suited elsewhere and they want to trade him. Like, trading MPJ would be one of the dumbest moves I've seen Sean Marks make throughout his Nets tenure if he were to elect to do that. And it's going to be, the contract. The fans have been so hung up on, the Nets need to create all this cap space. They had all this cap space in the summer. They didn't do anything with it. They acquired Michael Porter Jr. for a reason.
You're $40 million below the cap floor if you trade this guy.
Like, if you're not going to keep Michael Porter Jr. because you think he's too expensive, who are you going to pay at the end of the day? That's the biggest
So
question.
Tyrese Martin could use a pay boost, Connor.
Jalen Wilson? Are you kidding me? He's a leader. That's all that matters. He's a leader. He's
Yeah, I
vocal.
know. It's like
Yeah.
if you scrap your way onto this roster in training camp, you're somehow obligated 20 minutes a night. We'll get there
Yeah.
and so much more because
Yeah.
Tyrese Martin continues to be a joke. You see it on the bottom of your screen. 19 minutes, another classic, 1 of 8 from the field. And this isn't just some sort of outlier. I mean, Tyrese Martin is this year's like Tosan Awoma for me. Like unwatchable.
He's like Keon Johnson for me.
Yeah, about as unwatchable as unwatchable gets. I mean, I completely agree.
Look,
MPJ,
yeah.
I think we have plenty of time to discuss what his trade situation looks like. I'm sure all those talks heat up January, early February as the deadline truly begins to approach. Then, Connor, let me ask you, this is kind of a deep question. I don't think you necessarily have a full answer to this. Is MPJ's success here attributed more to the Nets coaching staff being able to develop him into the player he is, or did he always have this talent? He just couldn't unlock it in Denver.
It's a really good question. I think it's a mix of both, right? I think one of
Yeah.
the biggest things is he came into a situation that he understood. He had a prior relationship with Jordi Fernandez, and that is something that is super important. Jordi wants guys out on the floor who he can trust. And MPJ has proven that he can be trusted, hence the amount of minutes, hence his success. So I don't know how much it is development. I think it's more so knowing the system, having a prior relationship with this coaching staff, and I just think being used at a higher volume. I
Yes.
think that's the answer to his success so far. Again, trading him away would be ridiculous. It would
Can't
not
do
make sense for this team at all. I do not understand it. It would be stupid for lack of
Yeah, it would
It
be
would
the
be-
worst thing to happen to this
But
franchise
what's that
since
precedent you set then? All right, we just want you to build up your
Yeah.
stock if you're a non-rookie here, and then we're gonna trade you away in December. Like that's
and
such a
you
bad
and
precedent.
also if you want to acquire young talent from in return, which is what all I hear these people on Twitter saying, you gotta practically clear 4 roster spaces to take on to equivalent for his contract, right?
Yeah, look, MPJ is
not
someone
going anywhere.
who's a franchise player. I think he's a
Yes,
franchise
I
player.
completely
Again,
agree.
if we're talking about 35-year-old Michael Porter Jr. in this case, then my take is completely different. I'm saying,
Yeah.
perfect, he's built up his value, flip him right now. If the Nets were in this situation, 33, 35 years old, I get it. But this guy is still 27, and the
Yeah.
way he plays and how effective he is, he could play another 10 years in this league. He really can. He could be here when the Nets hopefully reach those glory days that we're talking about, and they have these rookies develop, they hit on their next few draft picks, and they have a 60-win season. They have a 55-win season. Like, he could be here for that. This isn't just some veteran who came in and outperformed. He's 27 years old, guys. That's something that fans really have to keep in mind when they say they want him gone.
Yeah, and then first of all, I mean, yeah, the money thing is ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
you don't want to pay this guy. Who do you want to pay? Like you're an NBA team. There's a salary floor, first of all, and second of all, like just sit back and daydream a second. MPJ plays this well for 3-4 years. The Nets draft a diamond in the top 3 of this draft, and then MPJ 3-4 years down the line hands over the reins to Peterson or DeBansta, and the Nets are set for 10 years. Oh my gosh, wake me up from this dream.
Dude, it's not Peterson or DeBansta. As someone who's been covering college basketball for Nets Daily, Josh, this class might be one of the most talented.
Exactly. No, I didn't mean like those
Yeah,
are the two.
yeah.
Like
No,
you're either missing out on the field or you're getting those two guys.
There are so much talent.
Like
the Nets could fit. The Nets could literally get the 12th pick in the lottery.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I don't care.
I wouldn't go that far. I think I still
think I'm telling you, Josh, there is so much talent in this class. The Nets can get a guy to contribute wherever. My favorite prospect right now, not who I think is the best player, right now for a sneak peek on my big board that I've been working on as I continue to do these weekly columns for Nets Daily, going 1,000, 1,500 words.
Great
and
stuff there.
I appreciate that, Josh.
Publicly told you.
And again, you guys could read that netsdaily.com every Tuesday afternoon. The long forecast comes out. I do 1,500 words, 2,000 words a week on these college prospects. Darren Peterson's my number one player in this class right now. I don't think that's debatable.
I think that's a consensus.
Yeah, I think Peterson's number 1. You could have the debate number 2, Debansta. I know a lot of people like Caleb Wilson, from UNC.
I
But
think it's Debansta, but I honestly haven't done
my
enough.
favorite prospect right now, Josh, is Kingston Flemings out of
Yep.
Houston. I watched him. I think he's played 13 games this year. I've watched 8 of those games. He screams Darius Garland to me.
Mm.
Not the number 1 option, not the guy who's going to be like Cam Thomas and put you on his back and can get you 40 whenever you want and have 2 assists to go along with it. But he is the true facilitator. He can command the offense. He is someone I view at the NBA who's going to average 19 points per game and 7 rebounds for 10 years. Not 7 rebounds, 7 assists for 10 years. That's, I think, the type of player that he is. Can shoot the 3 ball at an efficient clip, very shifty, can get down low, can space, can shot create. I think those are the players that Brooklyn is looking for. He is someone I really, really like. Fans have every right to be excited about this draft class. And I think that's a reason that, maybe we shouldn't be looking on Tankathon every day and more so focused on how the rookies are performing right now, because you can get talent wherever in this draft.
Exactly.
Wherever.
Connor, I know you know about this. I put out a video on Twitter
Yep.
a couple weeks ago after the Jazz game, and I talked about my frustrations with the loss and how Jordy handled the minutes. And all I heard in the comment section was about, well, kid, this team needs to lose. First of all, okay, Twitter gurus, newsflash, this team is going to get worse at the deadline. That's Sean Marks is just gonna have to understand that. And by the way, before I go off on this rant, I just wake up some days and I'm thankful that the Nets didn't have their 5 picks in the 24 class, like the Zachary Reese.
Yeah, Zachary.
Class.
I mean, what has Alex Starr done this year?
That?
I haven't followed him. He was okay last year. I mean,
yeah, he's fine. I mean, just a terrible draft.
Top
that would have set this franchise back another 5 years.
That was
but first of all, this team is going to get what?
Pacome Daddier.
I think Dalton Connect was the greatest player to hit that class.
Oh my god, that was
a brutal class. Yeah. I mean, this team is going to get worse at the deadline, and also, as you mentioned, there's so many high quality talents. It's not like one of these years where it's a desert. In fact, it's a gold mine of a year. So, and also, Connor, let's be real. We've watched the last 2 draft classes where teams with less than a 2% chance, both times, in back-to-back years, the Hawks and the Mavericks have swooped in and gotten the number 1 pick. You can do everything in your hands, but the NBA refuses to change how their messed up, and they know it's messed up, how their messed up system works. I've proposed already thousands of times a top 7 lottery and a bottom 7 lottery. The league's never going to do it. It doesn't matter how much you lose. Your odds at the number 1 pick are still going to be the same as a team with 20-something wins, something in the low 20s, top 3 all of the same odds. So it's not like you need to go in and be like, man, I cannot wait to go 0-82 and get destroyed tonight. That just does not have to be the mindset.
Yeah, and again, talent everywhere. That is the biggest thing to keep in mind. I mean, there are someone I really like. Another name, I mean, I can give you 50 names right now who I think could be solid NBA players, but someone who I
think we got all of April, May, and June.
Yeah. Someone who I really like, who I think fans should really look out for, is Dame Sarr, from Duke, 19 years old, very
Any
young.
relation to Alex?
No, he's Italian, Dame. 6'8", athletic wing, 7+ foot wingspan. He reminds me so much of VJ Edgecombe in the way where he is going to he's like a VJ Edgecombe, Carter Bryant type. Think of Carter Bryant last year, right? Carter Bryant rose so high up draft boards because of his NBA-ready defense. That was the reason that Carter Bryant
combine
was so highly touted. Again, the combine, the traits. Dame Sarr has all of that. His offensive game is still developing. I'll throw that in. His offensive game certainly isn't perfect. But again, similar to VJ Edgecombe, that is something that can be developed early on in his NBA career. He's a name I really like. Again, I'm gassed up for this draft class. I'm excited. But again, you got to focus on some of the young guys on the team this year.
For sure.
And I think one of the young guys who's been really interesting this year, as Samuel points out, is Noah Clowney. As he writes, what do you guys think Noah Clowney should play fewer minutes when he's been mostly very inconsistent this season and still has room to grow? Look, Josh, Noah Clowney hasn't been great this year. He's been inconsistent throughout the entirety of his
It was
Nets tenure.
brutal last
A
night.
lot of it, again, a lot of it comes from his ability to shoot. You see games where he shoots 8 of 9 from 3, and then a game like last night where he goes 0 of 9 from 3. So consistency, him, Zaire Williams, all these
Yeah,
guys, it's consistency. And again, Noah Clowney is still so young. He is. Noah
yeah,
Clowney is younger than Danny Wolf, and Danny Wolf is a
right.
rookie. What is this Clowney's third year or yeah,
Yeah,
third year?
but Wolf played 3 years in college, so it adds up.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, Clowney didn't play 3 years in college.
No, Wolf did.
Wolf, okay, Wolf played 3 years in college. But yeah, Danny Wolf is older than Noah Clowney. So let's keep this
Yeah.
in mind. Clowney's still young, but it gets to a point, Josh, you're in year 3. It's like you need to start seeing signs of tangible development from him.
Oh, 100%, but I think at this point, like, if you're talking about if you wanted your team to win a basketball game, who you'd rather see out on the court, I think right now for me, that's Zaire Williams. When you look at what Noah Clowney did last night, 2 of 13 from the field and 0 of 9 from 3, that's just not the same player. And then you go back to last week and he
Yeah.
scores 31 against the Jazz. It's like, what are
Mhm.
you getting? It's the definition of like a tale of two halves. It's like remember on Nets, it wasn't opening night, it was the home opener. Brooklyn looks like the worst team in NBA history for 3 quarters and then goes on like an insane 20-4 run to cut the lead to 3 with 2 minutes left. They eventually lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it's like that sort of up and down where you have no clue what you're expecting. At least you know with Zaire Williams, you're going to get very high quality defense. And the thing about Zaire Williams is he knows his role on this team, and his role is not to shot chuck. That is why he plays 19 minutes and
Yeah.
takes 2 shots. And if Zaire's going to get a good look, he's going to take it, but he's not going to take away opportunities from the young guys. And that's what I see out of guys on these teams who I'm not happy with the role of. Tyrese Martin, I'm not happy with his role on the team because he takes away from guys who are actually going to be on this team. You're in for 19 minutes and you go 1 of 8 from the field. First of all, that's on the coaching staff to get him out of there. And second of all, you need to figure out a role. Terrence Mann, same thing. 31 minutes, but he runs the point, and it's just taking away opportunities that Terrence Mann, you're supposed to be the NBA vet here. You, out of all people, should know that the opportunities are going to the guys younger than you. That out of everybody on this roster, you should not be shot chucking. But instead, I can't remember the last time Terrence Mann had a good game for this team. I would love to get rid of Mann at the
Yeah.
deadline.
No one's taking
Please,
that contract. That's the issue.
no one's. Yeah, exactly. It's all this stuff. No one's gonna take that contract. I think Sharp had a fine game last night. He needs to play a little bit more, but overall, man, these role players are way too inconsistent.
Consistency, name of the NBA. That's why the Nets have been stuck in this hole for so long. It all ties back to consistency, man.
Absolutely. Jalen Wilson with a little bit of a surprise good game last night. Comes
8
in the second
points. Oh
quarter.
my god. 2
He-
of 3 from down to still.
Yes,
catching
Jalen
dunks
Wilson
this
came
year?
in halfway through the second quarter and put in 8 points in 7 minutes. But what happens? He doesn't play in the second half. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Look, I will have a party if Jalen Wilson has a dunk in the NBA.
You'll have a party.
Really?
Am I invited?
You know he hasn't absolutely. You know he has not dunked a single time throughout his NBA career. Single time. He's 6'8".
I just think that's because I think that's a byproduct of him not playing defense. So he doesn't get any steals. He doesn't get any transition
Well,
opportunities.
not even that. Like, how do you not get an offensive rebound and just go up with it? Like how does that not happen? You are 6'8". Kyrie Irving has dunked before. Trae Young's come close. I mean, there are guys who are 6 foot, 6'2", who can climb the ladder and get up there for a dunk or two throughout their career. Jalen Wilson, man, you're 6'8".
Yeah, you had
Come on.
Yegor before you.
Yegor's dunked.
Yeah, he
So-
dunked once. Like week or two
How
ago.
Jalen? That just shows to me how unathletic he is. It does.
Yeah.
He's just not a good player. He isn't.
Continue to smash the like button, hit subscribe. We'll get to couple questions, comments, thoughts. Continue to get through these. Let's go to the top. Jonathan pops in and says, different sources have been discussing how Cam Thomas might need to be paired with an MPJ, Clax, Dayron, or Man in a hypothetical trade since his trade value on his own is not good. You can say that twice, Connor.
Look, Cam Thomas, I think, is going to need to play before he gets traded to have any sort of value. I don't think Cam Thomas is traded at the
I don't
deadline.
think he wants to play a single second on this team.
He's going to need to, though, or the Nets just won't trade him.
He's in such a bad situation, man.
He's in the worst situation, and it's thanks to the Nets. Isn't that crazy? He tried screwing the Nets over, and look what happened.
They sent him the qualifying offer, and he gets injured a week into
Exactly.
the season.
Yep.
That's horrible. I'm not packaging. You please package Man up. Don't package. Package Man up. I'd think about packaging Clax up for the right set of options. He's not a guy that I need on this team moving forward, but first of all, that might make this team splurge on a big man in the draft because they don't think they want to trust Dayron to be a starting center number one. And two, I think there's two reasons why I would probably rather deal Clax over the offseason. One, you can start a bidding war for him. He is a quality center in this league. He plays good defense. He can rebound for you. He can get points in the paint. He's not a Nikola Jokic center. He's not a 2025 center, but he's a classic center. I think you can start a bidding war over that, first of all. And second of all, you're able to immediately replenish in the center market in free agency and get a big man right back on your roster. Connor, if you think about it, think long-term for a second here. We're not even that far off from Brooklyn competing. They do not own their own 2027 first-round pick. Houston does in a swap. There's very good reason to believe that if the Nets get a Darren Peterson in this draft, they could easily go all in, try and compete in the East in the 2026-2027 season. But nonetheless, man, great to think the Nets could be competing in a calendar year for one of the top seeds in the East. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not as far away as people think. All stems back to development, Josh.
Exactly. We'll wrap up here after a couple more chats. Hit it. Appreciate you guys sparing some of your Friday, December 19th with us. First day of Christmas break. Oh, how great it feels. And subscribe if you're in the holiday mood. So that's everybody. BC in the building. His Lakers are on pace for 60 wins. Wow. If only we could get there one day.
I wish they just kept Darvin Ham. I really do. I really do.
Epic Fire Jr. says, who do you guys think the Nets could possibly do at the deadline? I think we can go more in depth on that in a future episode much later, but a couple names. Think about Man, Martin, if you can find a suitor, please get Martin off this team. I don't think you can, though. And obviously, the one dominating the headlines will be Cam Thomas. Jonathan pops in, did you guys see Haywood Highsmith to the Magic for Jet Howard in a second? A family reunion in Brooklyn between Jet and his dad.
What are teams going to trade for Haywood Highsmith? The Nets acquired him for a pair of second-round picks. He is still recovering from a surgery.
Yeah. He's done nothing. Yeah. He's another guy that needs to play really, really well if you want any trade value for him. And honestly, we can do this second-round shenanigans until they turn it into something. I'm done hyping up second-round picks.
They're nothing. Viable. You could package, 4 of them together and get a lottery pick. They're nothing. They're lottery tickets. That's all they are.
Yeah, but what team's going to want to trade
a
top 14 pick for 5?
They have no value.
30 or 40 or 50 something ranked prospect.
No value. Yeah.
That is not going to do anything. I'm done putting stock into second-round picks until it turns out into anything. In a draft where the Nets literally broke the record for picks in a draft, Sean Marks still didn't want to make a second-round selection, and he traded out of it. So that should tell you all you need to know about where this team is at. And we couldn't even figure out roster space now. Just wait until they get the influx of rookies between the Knicks picks in the future. They got a ton of picks coming up. They and the Thunder are loaded. Connor, my friend, it was an awesome episode. Great to have you back on the show.
Great to be with you as always, Josh. Fun times. Shout out to Nets fans. Hit like, hit subscribe. You guys are the best. Go Nets, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's all we got for you. Let's go, Nets. As always, we will see you most likely tomorrow night, if not Sunday. Quick look at the Nets' remaining schedule. They go Sunday to Toronto, Tuesday to Philly,
Yep.
and then Minnesota before rounding out against Golden State. Tough end of the 2025 year. I don't expect this team to win another game until 2026. Connor, that's all she wrote. Thank you so much for rejoining the show. He's Connor Long. He's Connor Long. I'm Josh Wolliver for the Brooklyn Boys Show. Signing off saying, have a great night, everybody. So long from Brooklyn. Peace out, folks.